Hi, everyone. It's Tracy Malone from NarcissistAbuseSupport.com. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today, I've got a very special guest, a friend of mine, Melissa Schwartzman. We are going to talk about the emotional impact of a divorce and what you need to do and how you need to think about this and get through it. So let's go meet Melissa, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome, Melissa. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me to be here. I'm Melissa Schwartzman. I'm a professional divorce mediator and a licensed clinical social worker.
Nice. I'm so glad that you are here. And tell us where you're located, just so people know.
Absolutely. I'm located in Westfield, New Jersey.
Nice. My old stomping ground. Today, we're going to talk about the emotional impact of divorce, right? And I know that, divorce is on the list of the top most stressful things that people can have happen in their life. And it's extremely emotional. I mean, it's painful, but it's emotional in a million different ways from the finances and everything else. So, will you share what emotions you have seen people struggle with during divorce?
Absolutely. I mean, it runs the whole gamut. People are always like thinking this is like not going to be emotional. We're going to get the agreement done, but people are angry. They are grieving. They are frustrated. Then they don't even realize how much it's going to impact them in every aspect of their life. So it's really important to allow those emotions to take place. Sometimes people don't own them. So it's really important to shout them loud and proud, and don't be embarrassed to do that. And reach out to everybody that you can get support from. Don't hide them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that in a narcissistic divorce, which is my channel listening here, there's often so much fear and uncertainty. Do you want to speak to the fear that people could have?
Absolutely. People are embarrassed. They feel that they failed themselves, they failed others, and they also sometimes are afraid of what their partner is going to do, if they're going to expose them, if they're going to make it look at turning around that they were the ones who caused things. People that they were close friends with, that they may say that they did something wrong. So it really puts them in a very, very vulnerable position. So it's really important that people really be true to themselves and don't buy into any of that. So everybody out there that's listening that ever had anybody say to them that they did something that they know they didn't do or that they are responsible for something, know that you were in the right and you be true to yourself and don't buy into any of that.
Absolutely. And when I think of fear, I go back to my divorce, and it was more the primal fear. How will I survive? How will I be able to pay my bills? Where will I live? Where will the kids go to school, right? It's a traumatizing time, and everything that you knew is upheavaled, right? The school district, the neighborhood, the friends, all of those things are happening all at the same time. It's not like you just moved, which is the other big thing, right? The other big thing that to handle in life is getting divorced and moving and changing your job. You might be doing all of those things in the same little window. And so it can get really isolating and painful. Right. That's what we need to make sure that people understand that maybe self-compassion. How does that work into this?
Absolutely. So when you're changing so many things at one time, it can be so overwhelming. So what do? You need to really make sure that you're taking time to take care of yourself. So what does that look like, right? While you're shuffling around, making sure you're getting your new home ready, making sure your kids have clothes to wear, making sure they're adjusting to their new school, asking you all kinds of questions. You need to make sure you're taking time to get some sort of routine for yourself. And if you're not able to afford all kinds of things, like going to like a gym class or anything, there are things that cost no money at all, which is going out in the fresh air, making sure you're taking a walk. If
Mhm.
you're somebody who likes to do some sort of meditation, making sure you're getting some time that's just quiet for you, whether it's making sure you're calling that friend that really can listen to you, making sure you're getting together. There are lots of support groups out there for women and men who are getting through this. Just making sure you're getting that outlet for yourself, taking up a new hobby, whether it's whether you even just like to knit or something like that. There
Make
has to be.
hearts. See those hearts? I made them for my hobby.
Oh, crafting, amazing. Making sure you have an outlet for yourself, to making sure you're having some sort of structure and showing yourself that self-love, because it has to come from you. You need to find that inner strength and knowing that you're going to find a way to get through this. It's going to come together. It seems like it's the most stressful time going through all these things, but you will find a time to have your new beginning. It can be reshaped to be a real period of growth and getting to know yourself in a way you've never seen.
Absolutely. It really is the gift that keeps on giving because you do find yourself and you find that hope you lost and you find a new meaning and you find, life without, in our case, an abuser is much better. You don't know what you didn't have until you don't have it. And then you're like, oh my God, it's peaceful. What's that like? So you mentioned something in that little part there about support groups. And I ran a support group when I first started to go through my divorce. I was already running a support group for teaching marketing. So I was already in that. And I was like, I think I need a new one. And I started a group to help me. I mean,
Oh,
at that point, I knew nothing about narcissism. I was just going through a horrific divorce. And I was like, ding. And I started a group, and then we'd have 60 people in it. So I had to have two groups because it didn't fit in the room. So then I had 80 people for the month, right? So all of those people and all of those things, they are your friends, even though you don't know them yet. They'll be like, oh no, don't let your lawyer do that. I mean, having that kind of free legal help based on what other people have gone through, the lessons they've learned, the things they go, oh, they're doing that, ask for this, right? The benefits of being with a tribe that gets it. So whether it is an in-person group like that, and I have a whole listing by state on my website of all the different groups we can find. I'm sure there'll be others, but of the ones we can find that are free, they're on my website, right? But we also have to remember Facebook. Facebook, when I have a Facebook group with 16,000 members in it, and if you are struggling, trust me, they know what to do and they know how to help you because they too have been in this shoes. So, again, you were talking about going for the walk, it's free. So is going into a Facebook group or finding a local support group for yourself. Because without that sort of grounding is a good word, right? Of what to expect, what not to allow, what your rights are, just to have other people going, hey, that sounds funny. My lawyer never told me that. Ask your lawyer again, just to have that kind of grounding in the truth. Because in our divorces, narcissists gaslight all day, which means they're lying. Oh, you'll get nothing in the divorce. You have no rights. By talking to other people, you find out the truth. Again, you still want your legal team, but you're going to not let yourself get so emotionally dysregulated because of the lies that the narcissist and the smearing and all the other thing that seems to hit people with, a brick wall when those things happen.
100%. I think it's so stabilizing also to have that generalizability, to
Mhm.
know now that you had this happen to you, you meet others who had it happen, and you're like, wow, you never knew that. Going back to all the things that you said, the fear and what narcissists do to make you feel like you're in the wrong and that you did something, knowing that other people are having this experience and then learning and the knowledge that you get from other people sharing, you're getting support and you're giving support, and that's amazing, and you're learning so much with the interchange. Wow, this is happening to you too. Wow, what did you do? It's so powerful.
It's so powerful. And I have groups that I also run online on Zoom every week. And the power of connection, it's just, in fact, that group that I started 8 years ago, four of them just went to Italy together this summer.
Amazing.
And then we're talking 8 years ago, they've been friends that long. So the friendships built out of this horrible situation that you're in are binding, and they really are different than your regular friends because they get it. And so, you know, we just have to look at how we can make ourselves stronger and more resilient during the process. And what I find is a lot of people are so, I call it in the fire pit of hell, and they're in the like interrogatories and oh, I gotta do this, right? And they're just in that place of making it through every day. But the people I see that really survive are the ones who say, I'm going to get help now instead of wait till it's over and then I'll get help, because you need the help to fight the battle, right? You need that emotional support and, coping strategies. Do you have any good coping strategies on how people can get through this?
I do, because I think it's important to say you are not alone in this. If you isolate,
Mhm.
you will not be able to get through this in the most successful way possible. So, coping strategies are making sure that you are making time for yourself, as we mentioned, but it's really important to not isolate, to reach out for help. You cannot do this alone. So, again, these support groups that we're mentioning.
Mhm.
It's good to surround yourself with family and friends, but as Tracy was saying, no one gets it like people going through it. So take advantage of people that you can connect with that are going through it. Also, I think it's really good to journal. It's really good to capture what's going on for you daily. So you can go back and say, when you're having a really bad day, you can know what really triggered you. So you can figure out how you're going to deal with those things, how you're going to set boundaries so maybe those can't happen again. And
Mhm.
also, setting boundaries really important. If you're going through a really sticky situation with your soon to be ex or your ex, what are you going to set up so you don't have those situations with that person? Those boundaries you're going to set and that you're going to do for yourself so you don't get triggered as easily, because you do have that control. So you need to set those control limits. If somebody's going to bother you with something, how do you not let that bother you? When you start having thoughts that are really taking over for you, you need to redirect yourself. And that can happen by standing up if you're sitting down and going to do something else, going to think about something else and doing a task. And sometimes it's really good to get outside. I am a big advocate of getting outside your environment. So those are some things that I suggest.
I love them. They're all really good. And I think the coping, in order to cope, you need some support, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a coach or someone that's going to emotionally hold your hand. Yes, you need best friends, but you'll also find a lot of your best friends have gone to the dark side and they're siding with your ex, right? So you'll feel even more isolated. But don't let that isolation keep you in the house, and get out there and do it. Like Melissa said, go take a walk, like just 10 minutes. It's going to clear your head. If you are ruminating and staying up all night and depressed that you can't get out of bed, then you go to your doctor and you talk to them about it too, because those things are quite real. And I remember one time I put something in my Facebook group. Did anyone ever think about killing themselves over this narcissist and the divorce? And within an hour, we had 350 people showing us their wrists that were slit, pictures. Like, just, yes, I want to do, I had to die. It gets that scary. So get the help and don't let yourself go down that far. If you're with a narcissist, they want you to be broken. Get this support and get the help, because those are people who are like gonna co-parent with them. If you're already in a weakened state and your emotional level on a scale to 1 to 10 is a 3, like you're not going to be able to fight the battles and do well in them and get through the complexity of co-parenting. For those who are co-parenting, do you have any suggestions with that?
I absolutely do, because that can be really hard if you're still having all this emotional conflict and tension. It's really hard to approach them. Some people, right, you can't even talk to them. Sometimes you're still just emailing back and forth. Sometimes you have those parenting coordinators. So boundaries are very important. So if you need to send those quick emails, quick texts just to make sure that you're getting those things done, then stick to that and make sure you're doing only the communications that are absolutely essential. And again, watching for your own triggers and making sure that you stay in control of them. And I really want to underscore what Tracy said. It is really important to watch your own mental health and to not go back if you are making progress to the state where you were being controlled, especially with the narcissist relationships, because as you're moving forward and gaining more control, it's very easy to slip back and not always recognize what's happening. So it's really important to seek out, mental health and getting those things under control, and those coaches to coach you through it, because it's really easy, especially when you have to do the co-parenting and there's other children involved. That the narcissist will start doing the same behaviors that they did with you with the children. And that is very hard to watch. That manipulation, the children will come back and be the parrot on you. So for co-parenting, you really need to be really strict about those boundaries and watching those controls and watching those triggers and maintaining that for you. And that's why it's really important when you're doing those parenting agreements to make sure that they're as strict and strong as you can make them from the outset.
Absolutely. Such a valid point about the co-parenting. And you talked a lot about boundaries. What we also need to understand is the boundaries and why and how we need to set them. Like if they're doing something that is annoying you, like texting you 15 times a day or at 11:30 at night or something like that. Not only are you setting boundaries during the process, but you're using what you learned to put it in the parenting plan and go, this is how many times we can text a day. This is an emergency. Them forgetting their favorite pencil or teddy bear is not an emergency. Make your life simpler because you're seeing what they're doing that annoys you. Use that to make the boundaries for your future, not just that interim time, because it's going to change, but you've seen them do the, I don't want to pay for, school supplies. Okay, well, thank you for letting me know. I'll make sure I get that in my decree now, right? So whatever they're doing that annoys you, make sure you are paying attention and you carry it through with protections for the future. If that's the only thing you get out of being annoyed, that's a win because it'll stop it later because now there's you know,
A protection.
a placement. Absolutely. So we talked about co-parenting. What about if we were thinking about how do we personally grow after this? Because some people are just like, I can't grow. I can't grow. I'm in too much trauma. How does someone like find the other side of this?
Absolutely. I think growth is one of the great things, because whenever we experience something that's negative,
Mhm.
really is an ability to take that and learn from it. So I think we learn that if we've gotten in a relationship with a narcissist, we kind of learn that they were very captivating. They're very charismatic. They get us charmed. So I think we can learn was it that we got into that relationship in the first place, and what are some warning signs that we maybe want to avoid in the past. And what are we going to learn about that we need to learn to love ourselves first? And we are not in the future going to let somebody compromise that for ourselves. So if we ever start feeling like we are giving up too much of ourselves to make somebody else happy, and we're not happy, we're going to say, bing, 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 red light, red light. We're going to stop and realize that that's not a good situation. So I think it's going to be more, the growth is, what is important to me? What makes me happy? And I'm going to start really looking at what are those things. And what am I going to focus on that makes me happy? This is going to be a regeneration of me. And that's the focus. So I think it's really an opportunity to really focus on yourself and what's important to you as an individual. What's your best self? It's the rebirth of you.
Right. And for those who are going through a narcissistic divorce, what you'll want to be focusing on is how do I not let this happen again? How do I, that's the growth. I will not let this happen again is a growth thing, right? It doesn't feel like it, and you may be sad and you may be happy that they're gone. But in the same time, every single moment in this is you know what? If I ever get married again, I'm getting a prenup. If I, you could sit there and think about all the things that you have learned from this that are growth, right? Instead of going, I don't have any growth. Well, no, you've got to find yourself. You've got to do this A, B, and C, right? So there's potential for growth, and that is the silver lining of a divorce because you don't go in the same person as that comes out, right? And you might have some work to rebuild and find yourself, but I don't want people to give up hope. I want them to go, there's a different world out there, and again, I'm going to say this because a lot of people, when they go through the divorce, it's like, I don't know if I can date again. I'm like, well, why are you thinking about dating again? Why don't you just like get through this, take care of yourself, live through this, not worry about the next door opening, but going, I need to get myself to a healthy, safe place so that if I do date, then I won't blow it because I'm an emotional wreck.
And Tracy, I think it's so important because some of the things about the growth, it's not like going to be this like neon light all the time. You're just going to feel like a better person. And that's the growth itself, that you're going to feel like I'm getting up every day and I'm feeling lighter and I'm feeling better. And that's the process in work itself. And then dating, agree. That's not like the first thing we want to do. But when you're in a place where you feel like you're your best self, that's when you're going to have the better energy that you're putting off. And if you feel like you're in a place to do that, that's when you know you're ready because you feel like you're the best self to put out there.
Absolutely. And even if you think about um, that growth, letting go of something is a really big growth point. Letting go of the fear that we started our little talk here today about, letting go of the fact that, this person wasn't the one and I get to start again, and holding on to the future versus the past. Again, can't have growth if there's an anchor pulling you backwards, right? So looking forward and thinking of the new possibilities with hope and all of that. How does someone move forward with resilience?
Exactly. So I think that's what it is. It's realizing that this is a new opportunity to come and start again. You had a marriage and now you have that chapter is closed, but you have many more chapters to write. You have a whole life ahead of you. You can have a whole new thing beginning. You can even start a new type of career. You can meet all types of new people. You can experience life differently from what you've learned, from what you want to change, what you want to do differently. So I often look at this, it takes time to get to this place, but this is a great new beginning, a new opportunity, a way that you can change and be your best self and a new beginning.
Absolutely. And I think resilience really begins in knowing who you are and understanding that who you were, well, I get to reinvent new Tracy this week, right? I'm gonna figure out who is Tracy and what does she want. And a lot of that is comes from emotional resilience. We talked a lot about triggers today. So if somebody is being constantly triggered, you better learn how to like let go of the triggers or understand what's behind them and what you'll tolerate. Because if someone is triggering you, do they need to be in your life? You get that awareness to go, oh, now I see it. I can't unsee it. And then, things happen along those way. But learning that they're by hitting all of the things that were wounded by the narcissist, meaning fear, anger, guilt, shame, just understanding how to trust again. You do work like that. Stop watching the narcissist videos when you're done with your divorce and just learn. Okay, co-parenting was, you could watch those, but learn how to emotionally reset. Learn about your fears. Look at them instead of being afraid of them. I was so afraid after my divorce, I wouldn't even open the mail. And a lot of people get that way. They're just scared, right? They freeze. I had to get through that. What's my fear? Why am I doing that? I don't know. Well, when you look at it, you figure it out, right? So don't be afraid to open the wounds as soon as you can in the process versus let me wait 5 years. I've been miserable. I think I'll fix myself now. Jump in full hearted, go, I'm going to make myself the best person. And yes, you're sad. And yes, there's changes. And you don't know, there's a lot of uncertainty. But believing in yourself is really, I think, the only way forward. And believing in yourself and letting go of the narcissist lies is how you're going to really just make a different life, like we said. Is there anything I missed, Melissa?
No, I think it's really believe in yourself, dig deep, and know that there is a promising new life ahead of you.
Mhm. Thank you so much for joining me. Can you tell us how people can find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on my website, melissabethcounseling.com, and you can reach out to me at melissabethcounseling@gmail.com.
Perfect. We'll put all that stuff down below. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for joining us today. I hope that you found that helpful. Again, a discussion about how do we emotionally regulate ourselves is always a good thing, especially when we're divorcing a narcissist. This is Tracy Malone. If you are going through a divorce with a narcissist, I have a great book. It's a bestseller book called Divorcing Your Narcissist. You can't make this shit up. So go and get that if you're going through a divorce with a narcissist. We've got a lot of chapters on emotional resilience as well as getting through the whole process. So this is Tracy Malone. Please like and share this video and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you again next time.